Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I am here with Josh's Canned Book Tag. This tag was created by Josh from Literary Gladiators, and I was tagged by the fantastic Todd from Todd the Librarian, and I will link both of their channels down below. Question number 1 is Fruit, a work that makes you think about being in school. And I'm going with Pearl by John Steinbeck. This is one of the first books we were assigned in my 10th grade English class, and I really didn't like it. It was a very typical school book in that I had a lot of issues with it, and then when I wrote my essay on it, I got a low grade because I did not agree with my teacher. So that was really fun. I will fight people on this. The ending didn't make any sense. There's some huge plot holes that I think John Steinbeck just decided he was going to ignore, but we're moving on. Question number 2 is vegetables. Your favorite thing to buy in mass market paperback. So in general, I don't really enjoy buying mass market paperbacks because I feel like they're not as durable as regular paperbacks, but the one answer I could give for this is the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger. This is the first book, Soulless, and I really enjoyed this series. It's like a paranormal, Regency, romance, steampunk kind of thing, but I did not know, when I started buying these books and reading them, I did not know they were going to start releasing them in mass market paperback, which is a format that I love, so I just got the mass market ones. Number 3 is Soup, a work that is packed with tropes. And that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is a retelling of the Vasilisa the Beautiful story, and specifically the part that I felt was really tropey about this book was the main character, Vasilisa, or Vasia. I just really couldn't connect with her. She felt she almost felt phoned in as a protagonist. She was just so similar to some heroines that I had read recently, and it got to the point where I'm like, oh, I bet she's gonna be great with horses. And she was, and I'm like, I bet she's gonna have tons of admirers, even though we're told over and over how plain she is and that her sister's the beautiful one, but there's just something about Vasilisa's face that caused people to be interested and intrigued and drawn to her, and that happened too. And there were just a lot of things like that. But I still really enjoyed this book because the plot and the writing and the atmosphere and some of the other characters were so good. Number 4 is Baked Beans, a work that has at least 2 legitimate approaches. And I'm going with The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare because there's that scene at the end where Katerina has her big speech about submitting to your husband and how women are they must be protected by men and they must listen to them and be guided by them in all things. And there has been so much debate, probably since people started studying that play a few hundred years ago, there's been so much debate among scholars and theatergoers and just everyone about whether or not that speech is genuine. Are we supposed to think that Katerina just turned into this submissive wife, or is she playing a trick on her husband? Personally, I really like how they handled that speech in the version with Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, because if you watch that part, what happens after the speech, I feel like it gives you a pretty clear idea of whether or not Katerina actually meant what she said. Number 5 is Soda. When you're hot, what book makes you feel cold and refreshed? And I'm going with Drink Slay Love by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a really interesting, contemporary vampire story that also has elements of the mafia kind of thing. And I just really enjoyed it. It's so quirky, but the characters aren't cartoonish. I really love Pearl as the protagonist, and I also just love the fact that she is so confident about who she is and how she looks, and it's really refreshing to read about a female character that doesn't hate herself and that doesn't hate the way she looks. Even though obviously self-esteem issues are very common, and I think it's important to see those in books as well, it was just a really nice break to read from a character who felt good about herself, even though she's a vampire who starts out with some very questionable morals. Number 6 is Coffee, a handy book. English Grammar for Dummies by Geraldine Woods. This is, as you can probably tell, it's just basically explaining some rules of grammar because the English language is a hot mess, and I have found this so useful, especially in high school when they really focused on rules of grammar and everything like that. And I've always been pretty good at editing and at writing grammatically, but a lot of the rules and actual, if somebody had asked me what a past participle was, I probably couldn't have told them. So this has just been really useful for that, and I haven't referred to it in a while because after high school it's people don't care quite as much about what parts of speech are called, but this definitely was very helpful. I think it explained things really clearly. Also, another great way for learning about the grammar of your own language is to read the explanations in a textbook for another language. Some of the clearest and best explanations I got of the crazy rules of English grammar were in my Spanish language textbook when they were explaining the Spanish counterpart to that, so. Number 7 is Tomato Puree, a great work that uses a lot of description. And of course, I have to mention The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is one of my favorite and most influential books of all time, and I really think the description is used really well, because for this book to work, you have to actually be able to visualize the garden that is in the book, and to visualize what the moors look like, and what Misselthwaite Manor looks like, and why Mary Lennox is drawn to these places. And I think that Frances Hodgson Burnett did such a great job with that. It's so precise, like the detail that she uses, but I don't feel like it's overwhelming. I feel like it's really beautiful and really sets the stage, and just, there are some passages where you're seeing the garden, and I just still think about them. Number 8 is Tuna, a work with a familiar adaptation you feel people must read. And I'm going to go with Pygmalion, the play by George Bernard Shaw. So a lot of people probably know that My Fair Lady is based on this play, and I love that show, by the way. I love the musical, I love the movie, but I really, really enjoy Pygmalion, the play, as well. And I highly recommend it. It's such a great social commentary, and there is so much humor in it, and the characters are so wonderful. I think if you enjoy My Fair Lady, you would definitely enjoy Pygmalion, and I think even if you don't like My Fair Lady, I think it's worth giving a try. It's such a great play, and I also highly recommend the movie from, I think it was 1938, with Leslie Howard, who I love and adore with all my heart, and with Wendy Hiller, because it is also fantastic. Number 9 is Bread, the most pretentious work you have ever read. I'm going to go with The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. I couldn't stand it. I feel like the author was using suffering to try and give her book deeper meaning, but like there was no emotional connection to the characters. Like, horrible things happened to this family over and over and over again, and it just, I guess we were supposed to feel like connected to them through their suffering, or like maybe she was trying to make some greater point about how there is still beauty in the world amidst all this pain, but I just really didn't like that book. I also want to give a trigger warning because there is a graphic sexual assault scene, and I just feel like nothing about this book worked. Like, the writing was pretentious. I just feel like she was trying to create this like heart-wrenching, like heartwarming family drama, and all she really did was frustrate me and make me really uncomfortable and disgusted. Number 10 is Broth, a work you refer to time and time again. And most recently, that has to be Blood, Water, Paint by Joy McCulloch. I read this book kind of recently, and I have basically not shut up about it since, because it is so fantastic. It's so beautifully written, it's so fiercely feminist, and just the story it tells about Artemisia Gentileschi, this pre-Baroque Italian painter who, like, her work is just incredible, and the things that she had to go through, and the fact that she still like attained such talent, and she just did such incredible things with her life, despite the fact that she is known more for her rape than for anything else about her or her paintings. I cannot recommend this book highly enough. It's so short too. It is mostly written in poetry, but with some pages of prose as well. This is the kind of book where even if you tend not to read one of these genres, like if you're not a historical fiction person, or you don't like reading books that are in verse, like any of those things, I think you would still get a lot out of this book, because it's so moving and it's so important and just beautifully told. And I have a full review on this, which I will link below, and just please guys, please read this book. Just pick it up and try it, because it's my favorite of the year so far, and honestly this is a book that I think has changed me as a person. Number 11 is Spam, a work of popular fiction you would endlessly encourage people to read. And I'm gonna go with Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. This book was very hyped up when it first came out, and I still see it on BookTube quite a bit. And even though there are a couple of things that I think could have been done a little better, this is just such a fantastic book, and I actually think it does live up to all the praise it's gotten. Number 12 is Chef Boyardee. Chef Boyardee. Sorry, the first time I heard that name pronounced, it was not the correct way, and it just does not get out of my head. A character you feel tries to be someone they are not. So I'm gonna go with Mal from the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, and this is for a very petty reason. I'm choosing him for this answer purely because he thinks he's so important, and he's not. He offers nothing to the group. I feel like even when he's doing things that are important to the plot, he's not really important to the plot, and I hate him as a character. Mal he acts like he's hot shit, and he's just a piece of shit. Number 13 is SpaghettiOs, an addictive children's book or series that you enjoy reading as an adult. Artemis Fowl by Owen Colfer. I love this series. I talk about it all the time. I'm currently doing the Artemis Fowl read-along that I'm hosting, which is still going. It's just kind of taken a break because of kind of busyness with myself and Giselle Bradley, the other host. But I just adore these books so much. They really had an effect on me, I think, when I read them so young, because it really cemented my love of like dynamic or morally gray characters. I love these characters. I love the story. I love the fact that I can go back to the series and still like both find new things to enjoy about it and also just feel everything about how much I enjoyed them the first time I read them. Number 14 is Manwich, a book that does more with its summary than with its content. I'm going with Empress of a Thousand Skies by Rhoda Bellezza. This is a sci-fi kind of space opera story about a princess trying to get revenge on the person who killed her family, and then the other protagonist has been falsely accused of the crown princess's murder, and there's all these other things that happen. There's like these intergalactic conspiracies and politics, and it sounds like something I should have loved, and I did really enjoy some things about it. I thought that the social commentary was one of the standout points of the book because it was such a diverse book, and that was an important part of the story, was the fact that this other character was falsely accused because of his race, because he was sort of at the bottom of the ranking of like all of the different species and races in the galaxy. And I think that that was done really well, but unfortunately, like, nothing else really worked. Like, the characters felt like really flat kind of placeholders for these ideas. The plot got really confusing, but also boring at the same time. And I really didn't enjoy that book as much as I was hoping to. Number 15 is what is your favorite kind of canned food? And for me, that is cranberry sauce. I love cranberry sauce. I will eat that on just about anything. I love Thanksgiving because I can just like stock up and have it on turkey, and then I can have it later in the year on like other things, and I love it so much. Like, I honestly love it even more than homemade cranberry sauce, which is still really good, and I would put it on almost anything if common sense did not stop me. And finally, number 16 is Canned Food Drive. Who do you tag? And I'm going to tag Olivia from Read by Liv and anybody else who sees this tag and who wants to do it. I had a lot of fun. The questions are really interesting, and I had a really hard time with some of these. So thank you again, Todd, for tagging me. I will see everyone soon with a new video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!